Welcome back, everybody, to the Members Podcast. Got a couple of friendly faces that we had from last week. We got Patty representing most things up north, I think, and we're not going to say Pittsburgh or anything like that, just things up north. Chrissy over here in the Midwest. We got Kyle, resident Philly fan. So uh,
Wow. Wow. That was a warm welcome. I appreciate that.
I love having you here, Kyle. Just having you see here. You look like you want to give somebody a hug today. I don't know what kind of day it's been for you, but it looks like you want to give a hug.
Oh, it's been great. It's been great. I had a holiday party at work. It couldn't have been better. I listened to Christmas music all day, no sports radio. I mean, did anything happen yesterday that I should be aware of? I
I
didn't
don't
think
know,
so,
but
yeah.
I tell you one thing, nothing sucks worse than a loss on prime time because the next day, it's not like, you play the 1 o'clock games and then on like the next day, they're not going to talk about you. There would have to be a severed head on the field for them to talk about your game. But darn it, if that 8 o'clock game, Eastern time, gotcha, Christy, 8 p.m. Eastern time game, good gracious, you just get absolutely baptized. It's unbelievable what happens. I mean, it happened to the Cowboys last Thursday. This morning, I could still, it's ringing in my ears. I hear jingle bells and I hear that, you know, Eagle stuff. Like it's ridiculous.
Well,
But we're not,
the good thing is, I don't play for the team, right? So I can just not turn that stuff on. And it was great. It was a happy Tuesday for me. A little cold, but it was a happy Tuesday for me. I was good, brother. I was good. Everybody
hey,
thinks I'm angry. Everybody thinks I'm gonna freak out. I'm not gonna
I'm
freak
not going to
out.
do what everyone
I'm not
thinks
gonna
I'm going to do.
do. Yeah, I'm not gonna do it. I'm
That's
good.
what someone
I'm
who
good.
wants to freak out would want you to think.
If you want me to, I can, but I'm staying reserved for the pod. I'm staying reserved.
Just a 10-second freak out, Kyle. Just 10 seconds.
I'll need more than 10 seconds.
Okay.
I'll definitely need more than 10 seconds.
Christy, you weren't here for the Luis Rojas debacle. Kyle's gonna need 20 minutes for a
Row
freak out.
ass. He's still row ass. He's row ass. And Jalen Hurts was row ass last night. Okay.
Roas, isn't he backup center fielder? Is that what we talked about in the baseball one? I didn't know who that was
Yes.
for a
Mhm.
while.
Yes.
Well, I hope you resign him to like a 5-year contract.
He's such a jerk.
Uh,
Such a jerk.
before before we get too far into it, let's go ahead and get into the sponsors here. Want to give some good shout outs. We are going to talk about fantasy stuff, right, Steve? And is going to be a show and tell? We doing show and tell? We are? Excellent. Then I'm going to go ahead and start with Lotwin. Lotwyn. They are a wonderful company that creates fan chains. Any type of scenario that you want. It's absolutely amazing. Quite a few people on the podcast have them. It's how we celebrate our internal competition champions. And speaking of that, we're actually going to showcase the one for our internal fantasy football championships. From a little ode to Flavor Flav here, you're looking at a Lotwin special right here. You too can get your fantasy fan chain customized, anything that you want in it. Put in promo code TCCPOD to get 10% off. Really great company. A lot of people in our community have taken advantage of those and can't appreciate it anymore for sure. There's this barbershop in Lancaster called Sbarro where a nice young woman named Lean um, resides. And we have a couple of regulars like Lewis there, head to toe, getting his grooming done every single week. He looks very manscaped. Um, Mention the podcast and we get you get a discount there. And then let's see, there's another one, Kyle. Maybe you can talk about this other one. Maybe there's a show I was missing.
Yeah, yeah. It's this day in Philly sports history with none other than my brother Jim Montgomery. And yesterday, that day in Philly sports history will be remembered for a very long time because just like you fumbled through these sponsors, Jalen Hurts had the autonomous duty of throwing an interception and having a fumble on the same play. Only player in NFL history to do that. So that will be a trivia question, I'm sure, in this day in Philly sports history, where you can find Jim wherever you get your podcast.
That was very eloquent. I was staring at you the whole time, and all I could see, I just couldn't get you out of my head, so I was just fumbling through that. So you're absolutely right. And thank you for the call out. I appreciate that. I will be better. Eventually I will be better for that. But we can get into some of our topics here. To make sure we have time for other things, we're not going to talk about college football playoff seeding quite yet. We do have a little bit of a fantasy update. I believe we're down to what's going to be the final two. Is that correct?
4 teams. There's there's 2 2-week playoffs. So Jim and I are in a pretty close semifinal. I think we're separated by less than 10 points going into the next week. I think I'm up like 6 or 7 points on him, somewhere around there. And then the other side, Corey is absolutely taking it too. Fraud Karan.
He's dog walking him. He's dog walking him. It's not even close. He's doubling him up right now. It's ridiculous. It's ridiculous. The Holy Quran has crumbled.
But is he beating his opponent by more than Steve's team did this year? I think that was a 90-point win. A 90-point win in the toilet bowl.
Not quite. He's not quite there yet, but he probably will be after next week.
We'll call it the Bourbon Bowl this week then. Toilet Bowl will be next week.
Love it. Love it.
So, Christy, I'd like to know your thoughts on the final week of F1.
Oh, I'm so happy. So happy. I mean, I am a Lewis Hamilton fan, but Lando is my second favorite. And the fact that Max Verstappen is no longer a world champion and can no longer wear or drive the number 1 on his car, I cried. I did a girl thing. I cried. I cried when Lando won. I have a hard time watching a grown man cry. It makes me cry. I get emotional. So I was super excited that Lando pulled that off. It was a great early morning on Sunday for me to watch that race. And whew, no more Max, no more Red Bull. So I'm a happy camper.
You're not going to cry now, are you?
No.
I'm going to say crying makes me uncomfortable and I don't like it. So please don't.
Yeah, it makes me uncomfortable too. I think that's probably why I cry with them, because I feel uncomfortable when a grown man cries. I don't know.
If I see people on TV cry, I have to shut it off. I turn it off. I get frustrated. I get irritated. And I'm like, I can't deal with this. I can't do it. Like when we watch those stupid shows.
Huh? No, you're trying to avoid being emotional because you're watching somebody cry and you don't want to cry. I know what it is. It's fine. It's cool.
I feel like they're crying on TV for the sake of being on TV, and that's why they're crying. Like, I feel like they're doing it for ratings sometimes. But if I see other people cry in person, I'm like, I got to turn away. It makes me like uncomfortable. I'll admit it. I probably would tear up. So please don't cry right now. Please don't cry.
No, I'm not gonna cry. No, I'm excited.
You look a little emotional. You called me angry earlier. You called me angry earlier.
Said, I didn't call you angry. I said you had an angry looking face for the first time in all of this time that I've known you. So
it's just my face, Christy. It's just an angry face.
It was different tonight, Kyle. I'm sorry.
It was very resting. It was resting on its resting. It was.
Yeah, well, you would know, Paul. You would know, wouldn't you?
Let it all out, Kyle.
I wouldn't necessarily know, but I may be to blame for it every once in a while. I have given. Been the bounty behind that. Christy, I feel personally a little bit different about how you feel about the way that F1 ended. I actually was and I say was now, a Max Verstappen fan. I didn't start watching until like 5 years ago, so kind of took a liking. And the fact that it was just Red Bull racing, I thought it was kind of cool. But I'm, let's go ahead and get the Cadillac in there, and I'm going to find whoever one of the drivers for Cadillac. I'm going to jump ship, and I'm going to go to Cadillac, get a nice American company there.
Go for Valtteri. Valtteri's an awesome driver. It's him and Sergio, who used to be on Red Bull. Yeah, him and Checo. Yeah, Valtteri and Checo are the drivers for Caddy. And I mean, next year's a whole new ball game. It's an all new car. It's an extra team added in. We're going to have 22 cars on the grid for the first time ever, and it'll be interesting to see. Hopefully Ferrari can pull their heads out of their butts and figure out what's going on with their car so that Lewis and Charles can have a decent season. And yeah, we'll see. Next year's
Christy, you just message me on Saturday nights and tell me who to put my capital gains on, and I'll be an F1 fan real quick.
Okay, I got you.
All right.
It's an amazing sport to watch. It's fun.
I agree, and it takes so much less of your time than NASCAR does. Mm-hmm. And they don't just do circles. They don't just take lefts.
They're not just making left turns.
Yep. So no, I agree with that. Yeah.
They take
Yeah,
hairpin
they make
turns at
rights too.
65 miles an hour. I mean,
Yeah, you can't just like turn left like how I turn a lawnmower going 60. It's a little bit different.
That'd be awesome.
But no, I'm gonna pick a Cadillac driver going forward, and I'm gonna jump on that. I think I'm gonna do that going forward. So
yeah, I would definitely say go for Bottas because he used to drive for Mercedes. He was Lewis's teammate and he was amazing. So, guy's a good driver.
Yeah, I didn't really root for Mercedes before, but I'll take Bottas. Is it Bottas or Bot? How do you say it?
Bottas, Valtteri Bottas. Yeah.
I'll probably just call him Bottas. But yeah, that'll work.
Sounds about right. Sounds about
Yeah.
right.
All right, we can go ahead and get into it now. Unless we want, I don't think there's too much. Like I was going to talk about, like maybe the NBA group play. Nothing is as could possibly be any more underwhelming than the quarterfinals for the NBA group play. Like it absolutely, you want to talk about something that doesn't matter. Those players should opt out of that, but they can't because you know why they wouldn't? Because there's a bunch of money involved at the end of it and it's fun and it's great exposure and TV rights and everything else. It's crazy. So I wonder if there's a way that we can transition that into how the college playoff selection went. I'll start it off, but then I'll let it go and I'll let Kyle say everything that I'm thinking, um, so that I can maintain my host status in this. So I think there was some controversy about some of the teams that got in. You've got Miami that got in after Duke lost. After Duke won, it kind of messed up everything a little bit. Um, so I think the writing was on the wall last week when out of nowhere for no reason to me they did put Alabama ahead of Notre Dame. And I had a Christmas party in the neighborhood this weekend and we were talking about that, some of the husbands, and I mean, to me, it seemed plainly obvious that they were just setting it up that if Alabama loses, and apparently it didn't even matter how they looked because they looked like hot garbage, that they were going to let them in. And so somebody was going to have to get sacrificed. And by doing that, they gave you a head-to-head matchup of Miami versus Notre Dame. I think they wanted to make it easy by saying one beat the other. And there it is. The one thing that I'm going to say, and I just said I wasn't, but I'm going to take a side here. One thing I'm going to say is I don't have too much sympathy for Notre Dame because they haven't joined a conference. And I will say that even though I can see how Notre Dame is very upset and also pissed that, they have 24 other sports that are in the ACC, that the commissioner was backing Miami like crazy. They're in the conference that they're in. They want the money. They're supposed to. You have to back the players. If they had said anything to back Notre Dame, what are they going to look like as a commissioner of that conference? So I understand both sides, but I lean more towards Notre Dame kind of being butthurt about it. But I understand. So, Patty,
Before I let Kyle rant, I have one question for you. Oregon's in a conference, right? They're in the Big Ten. One loss, Oregon in the playoff, right? Did they play Ohio State this year?
I'm guessing no.
I don't think so. No.
Did Alabama play Ole Miss this year?
I'm guessing no.
No.
Because they're on opposite sides.
So these giant conferences, like, I'm not, Kyle, go.
Well, I was also going to say, to throw a little wrinkle, because I'm a Texas fan too. They're my number one team, but somebody I root for. I think they had a case. Do I think they're that great of a team? I do not. But I think they, like, by their resume, I think they actually had a good case as well to be in that mix.
I mean, they got punished for playing Ohio State week 1, which is stupid. But I agree with you on that.
Hey, early season punishment, sometimes that happens, right? And I think we're about to hit on that here in just about. Kyle?
Yeah, I mean, look, Miami played Notre Dame the first game of the season, first week of the season. Notre Dame lost head-to-head by, what was it, Patty? How many points?
3.
I'm guessing 3.
It was a 3-point game, right? Having said that, I do want to preface this, and I said this all week, that I do believe that Notre Dame should have been in over Alabama. This just goes to show whether the committee, ESPN, anybody wants to say there's not an SEC bias, they're full of crap. There's clearly an SEC bias. It was already predetermined that no matter what happened in the SEC championship game, Alabama was making it. So it really came down to that ACC championship game. And if Notre Dame wants to blame anybody, blame Virginia for losing. That's the biggest thing. If Virginia wins, then Notre Dame probably still gets in and Miami doesn't. That's what ends up what happening, right? I also think if you if you really look at how the playoffs are set up, you're supposed to be taking the top teams, right? So, do you really think James Madison's better than Notre Dame? Let's be honest. They're not, right? They're going to get dog walked by. I think they're playing Oregon, aren't they? And I think Oregon's a 17-point at least favorite last time I looked. If they're
And I
not up
think
by 21 at halftime, it'll be a shock to me. They're going to win
and
by 20 plus.
and doesn't Tulane have Ole Miss? Is it Ole Miss that they have?
Who already beat them by 34 this year.
Correct.
So
Correct.
it also kind of brings up a point about, do we want to make Group 5 or, anything outside of Power 5, give them any kind of guarantees? The same way that Notre Dame kind of wants a little bit of extra
Guarantees?
favorite. Well, yes.
Yeah.
A lot of Notre Dame is built into guarantees. Their TV money is all guarantees.
Yeah, but that goes out the window when you're playing in bowl games because it's nationally televised. So the Notre Dame networks means nothing when you're in a bowl game because it's nationally televised. They're on all the
Kyle
major
Montgomery,
networks.
those Notre Dame networks mean nothing to me any day of the week. Go ahead.
Fair. Look, all I'm saying is I think that the system is clearly going to have to change now because Notre Dame took their ball and went home.
Yep.
They decided to do what they did. Now, having said that, do teams do this every year? Yes. Are they as high profile as a team that gets left out? Has a team that's ever been left out of the playoff declined a bowl bid? The answer is no.
I think this has got to be the highest one.
The answer is no. Usually it's a 6-6 or maybe a 7-5 team that has injuries or has something decimated, right? Even Florida State a couple years ago when they should have been in the playoff, but then Jordan Travis got hurt. That's why they didn't make the playoff. And then they ended up getting their asses handed to them
By
in
Georgia.
the bowl game by Georgia because they were in the same boat. They had so many people opt out of the bowl game. And that's what's going to end up happening. If to your point, Patty, like what you said in the chat, if Notre Dame did play in the bowl game, they probably would have had 25 players opt out anyway.
Yeah,
So
I mean, it wouldn't have been.
It was a smart move.
It just wouldn't have been indicative of what they were this year, in my opinion. Like, I can't argue the take your ball and go home point. I think it's valid, and I think there's probably some freshmen and sophomores that are upset that they're not going to get the chance to put some tape on for another team. But I think at the end of the day, I think more than half of their roster is either preparing to transfer or preparing to go to the next level. So I think that, when, social media says that it was a player-led decision, I believe it. Obviously I don't think that every player voted. They didn't sit down and write yes or no on a paper. That's not what happened. I think probably their juniors and senior leadership said, hey, we're not doing this. And Marcus Freeman and them said, well, we're not going to put a team out. And I'm not saying this is right, but they weren't going to put a team of freshmen and sophomores out there and go lose to BYU and then have people be like, oh, well, they didn't deserve to be in anyway and they lost. Like, it doesn't do them any good, and it doesn't do them any good to win with them, in my opinion, and not everyone's going to agree with that. That's fine. The enemy here is the committee. Point blank, period. I'm not mad at Miami. I'm not mad at Bama. I'm mad at these idiots that vote in these teams every year. It is crazy. Here are my three biggest problems or my takeaways from Saturday night to today. One, why for 4 weeks did you tell us that you had Notre Dame above Miami, and then in the 12th hour, you decided to flip them because, BYU wasn't a buffer anymore? Why does BYU have to be a buffer to take head-to-head into account? Head-to-head didn't matter for 4 weeks, but magically now that they're right next to each other, it matters. But since they were 2 seeds away from each other, it doesn't. Absolute garbage. That's one. Two, you can't punish BYU and not punish Bama. I'm fine with Bama being in if you put BYU in over Miami. If BYU was a 10 and Miami and Notre Dame were out and you kept the conference championship in, that's fine. and I would be fine with that. And my last point is like, I always hear in previous years, teams were left out for bad, quote unquote, bad losses or how they looked late in the year. Alabama jumps Notre Dame, like Paul said 2 weeks ago, because they beat Auburn late on a last second touchdown, but they look like dog crap against Georgia in the SEC championship, -3 rushing yards, and they magically get a pass for that. Now, we're talking about the same team that lost to Florida State earlier in the year. Now, the one thing I won't take away is Notre Dame did not have a signature win. Pitt and USC are not signature wins, and I can get behind that, and I understand that deal. But let's also not act like their 2 losses were to playoff teams by a combined 4 points with a freshman quarterback in his first 2 starts. And their average margin of victory, despite their opponents, who you should beat, their average margin of victory was over 28.5 points down the stretch. So at this point in time, you can't tell me that Notre Dame was not a top 10 team, not even top 12, I'm going to say, a top 10 team in college football. If conference championships matter, then make them matter. If conference championships don't matter, then BYU should have been in. I'm not saying this is what they should do, but talking about Notre Dame joining a conference, like if I was Notre Dame and I wanted to be the king of petty, I would go join the Mountain West for a year. I would win the Mountain West and be 11-0 and be one of the top 5 ranked conference champions out of the Mountain West. Or
Don't you
the
already
American.
play half the teams anyways?
I mean, we played, so if conference championships mattered, we played Boise State, who did win the Mountain West. And we also played, again, I'm not saying that this is like a benchmark of what a team should be, but they beat Arkansas by more points than all the SEC teams in the college football playoff beat them combined. Like, and again, did they have Syracuse? Yeah. Did they have Boston College? Yeah. But I think the biggest thing to me is when you're, and especially Notre Dame not being in a conference, they scheduled these series 5 or 6 years in advance. Like they scheduled this Miami 4-year series in like 2018. Like that, and that's when it locked in. So people are like, well, their schedule next year sucks. Well, they locked in a 5-year deal with Syracuse 2 years ago. And the ACC is not stupid. The ACC is not going to give them Clemson. They're not going to give them, they get SMU next year, which is a nice, that's actually, a nice scheduled game. But like, they're not going to give them the cream of the crop when they know that could hurt those teams' abilities to represent them in the college football playoff. And the last thing before I let someone else go is, why is 5-loss Duke in an ACC championship over 2-loss Miami? Because the tiebreaker is opponent's win percentage. Opponent's win percentage is the tiebreaker when you have 5 losses. If Miami's in the ACC championship, them or Virginia win, one of the 2 get in, and Notre Dame gets in. But since 5-loss Duke is in the championship and then wins, and I love Darian Mensah, he was at Tulane last year. I love Duke all year. They're a big capital gains team for me. But like that to me, and like kind of like what I touched about earlier, is like these conferences getting so big, half the teams don't even play the top half of their conference.
Yep.
And it's infuriating.
I will say,
That's
so,
fair.
so the 3 things that I heard from you is these things. I heard that the committee hates Jesus.
Yep.
F Duke.
Jesus hates Notre Dame.
Yeah.
Yep.
And
Rudy was a Miami fan.
There you go. My wife is a devout Catholic. For anybody that knows her, she hates Notre Dame with a passion. So she is right there with the committee, right there with them. So one thing I want to ask, Chrissy, I want to ask you this: as far as the bowl games, do you think that there's a value in a team playing a bowl game?
I mean, yes and no. I guess like, and listening to Patty talk too, like how long is the institution of Alabama gonna have that upper echelon that they always need to be there? Like how long do they have to not be good for before people stop trying to bring them into a conversation and make sure that they're up there? And then 2, I mean, being in Wisconsin and with the Badgers and the ups and downs of Badger football, like we're always like, oh, are they going to get a bowl game? When's the bowl game going to be? Is it going to be prime time? Is it going to help us? I mean, that's how we look at it around here. with the Big Ten and everything else. And we always go against the Ohio State. I mean, that's always, being in the Big Ten and stuff like that. So, I mean, I think there is value to the bowl games, and that does bring in a lot of money for those schools and for those teams and those players and that recognition. And you get to say you played in a bowl game, but make it make sense. Kind of like Kyle and Patty both said, like there's some with that many conferences and trying to bring everything together and trying to figure out who the best team in the entire nation is. I feel like there's a lot more that needs to go into it than what actually goes into it. And I think if you made it more fair across the board, I feel like it would be something that people would take a lot more stock or value in, I guess is how I feel about it.
I
Does that
also
mean
feel
that-
like, oh, my bad. I was going to say on top of that, Chrissy, I also feel like bowl games held much more of a value when your freshmen and sophomores were returning to your university. A lot of these universities, I'm not saying just Notre Dame, a lot of universities, these kids that are playing in these bowl games are, and I'm not saying this is right, but why would you want to give this kid valuable tape to go play against you somewhere else as a junior or senior when they're not going to start for you? And I'm not saying that makes it right to the kids, because it definitely doesn't, and I can get behind that point. But the structure of how college football is built is like you used to play these bowl games because you'd say, oh, well, Wisconsin has a really sophomore heavy team, and this is going to give them more momentum going into next year when they're bringing back 80% of their roster. Whereas like now I would be willing to bet, like take a look at Texas Tech, who's in the playoff last year. I would think 80% of their starting 22 is new additions, whether it be transfer or true freshmen from NIL money.
Well, to what Kyle put on the Discord earlier, it's not college football anymore. It's semi to almost completely pro. So you want to, I mean, that's why Ole Miss told Lane Kiffin to not come back again, ever. He's like, can I coach the bowl game? And they were like, absolutely not. You are not going to get to talk to our players one more second to get any of them over there to Ole Miss. So, I mean, it's all professional sports, and it's all shisty, and it's all about agents and money and all that other stuff. Football, college sports have been ruined over the last couple of years, but this is just a byproduct. But I ask this, does this mean that is this more of a case, what we're seeing from Saturday, a case to expand the playoff even further?
I mean,
Money,
I think
right?
I think that
You think
16 is
always-
probably the logical. 16 is logical number, especially if you're going to keep the G5. Especially if you want to keep the G5, I think that 16 is the logical number. Or like I won't go too into detail, but if you get the chance, check out Gruden released a video on it he's with Barstool now. He basically released a video basically saying how if you want these conference championships to matter, you take the P4 conference championships, and those 8 teams are automatic bids. So if you win or lose your conference, you're the top 8 seeds no matter what.
It's for seeding.
And
For seeding. Yep.
And then during conference championship week, you have the next 12 highest ranked teams play each other. Like 6 would play, let's say like Oregon's the highest unranked team, right, or the highest non-conference championship team right now. So like Oregon would have played JMU last week, and the winner would get the next seed. And then Ole Miss would have played Tulane, and Miami would have played Notre Dame, or whatever, was down the line. So like either if that's what you want to do, then these teams need to be playing a meaningful game on conference championship weekend, or it needs to go to 16, and the idea of losing your conference championship doesn't necessarily matter anymore.
Yeah, I mean, I think college football did this to themselves when they made a bowl game for literally everything, right? So it's the scrubdaddy.com bowl. It's the my shoes are gray bowl. Like it's ridiculous. There's bowl games for everything. There's more bowl games than there are teams to play in them at this point. So
There's a Gronk bowl game on Saturday. That's one of the first
Correct.
bowl games.
Yeah, and it became a money grab at that point. So now you're in this predicament where now you have teams opting out, and you already have these bowl games. So what are you going to do, right? You can't fill them with teams that actually deserve to be there. So now you're inviting teams that don't deserve to be in bowl games. So what are you going to do? At some point, the whole format's going to have to change, because if you did this all for money, you got to make it make sense now. Right? It's like we all laughed at when NCAA basketball, like when college basketball went to 68 teams. Why? Why did you go to 68? 64 was perfect. They went to 68 because it was a money grab. It was for more money. I wouldn't be surprised if they expanded again in a few years. It's going to be the same thing in football.
One thing we talked about, Kyle, that I think is interesting to note too is the development of the NCAA to not push back deadlines. We were talking about during March Madness last year how coaches and players were transferring in the middle of the tournament. Like in the middle of the tournament, I'm pretty sure that the transfer window for college football is either January 1st or like right in the middle of January. So again, that's another reason if I'm somebody that's trying to transfer, I'm not playing in a bowl game. Like I'm not getting myself hurt. And especially if I'm at a quote unquote mid-major, like if I'm at a smaller school, like, Delaware makes a bowl and I got a chance to go play at Penn State next year or go play at Maryland next year, even, like I'm not going to play in that bowl game and getting hurt when in 2 weeks I'm going to be at a new school.
Well, it's the same thing with coaches too. They got it. So this is the whole format change that they got to do. They got to make a format change when it comes to the bowl games, when it comes to the playoffs. They also have to do it when it comes to the transfer portal and the player and the coaches. Coaches shouldn't be able to leave a team until the season's over. Like, I think that's the dumbest thing ever. You made a commitment, you honor your contract, or avoid your contract. No more of this buyout crap. Like the James Franklin buyout, all these buyouts are so dumb. It's ridiculous. If you get fired, I shouldn't have to pay you out. You sucked at your job. That's why I fired you. I shouldn't have to owe you money. If you leave like Lane Kiffin did and you go to another school, you're right. That's it. You shouldn't be allowed back here. When we honor this team this year, you're not a part of it. That's it. We're writing you out of the record book because you're not loyal. And that's why it should be, you have to wait till the end of the year for all this stuff. The players, the coaches, everything, to your point. And they're going to have to mandate that at some point. Same thing with the contracts, the money, the NIL deal. They're going to have to like overhaul this. And this is going to be like a minor league system at some point. It's already halfway there. It's just unorganized.
They did take away the spring transfer portal or spring transfer period, which I do like, so that once you get into the spring game, it's just another chance for you to have no clue who's going to be on your team next year. Mm-hmm. So it's weird. It's a catch-22. You're going to lose players, but then you also have to be recruiting at the same time to get players back. Like, it's kind of like when Bill Belichick took over for the Tar Heels, like he was left with everybody's leftovers after the spring game stuff because of when that actually took place. So I think, next year should be a little bit better. But if they still had the spring game, he could have lost even more players here coming up before he even knew it and had to do the whole thing over again.
And the thing is, too, is that why would I, as a college football coach, and again, there are exceptions, there's Jeremiah Smiths and Ryan Williams of the world, but why, as a college football coach, would I take an 18-year-old when I can have a 22-year-old that's played 3 seasons of college football and has played against Power 4 and Power 5 conferences? What incentive
and already understands the college game,
and understands it, and is almost a grown adult compare. And again, there are exceptions. There are true freshmen that are exceptional, but most programs in the country, like we talked about with basketball, St. John's, Rick Pitino literally said, if you're in high school, don't contact me. We're going to go, we're going to go take 10 guys out of the portal because I know they know what college is like. They know what the competition is like. They know what the workouts are like. They know what the life is like. And I don't have to deal with the baby stuff of making them into adults. They're already adults. And they're just going to come here to play football. So that has been a big thing. Like, especially now, I don't know how familiar you are with it, but they just passed a ruling last year that JUCO doesn't count towards your eligibility, which I think is awesome. But now you're even going to see like 23, 24-year-old adults like Bo Nix. Right. Like, I like Bo Nix, but like Bo Nix played college for 9 years because of COVID. Like, you know, like why?
Did you see,
and good for him.
Did you see what Calipari said the other day? And I got to laugh. I hate Calipari.
Waving to
said after the game,
player wave, I gotta waving to the kids in the crowd.
To his kids. And what we don't realize is that his NIL deal pays for his alimony from his ex-wife. Like, Jesus, that's insane.
To his baby mama that he had.
Yeah.
That's what my wife always says. True. My wife goes, well, why do they have kids at such a young age? I go, if you knew you were about to make $10 million a year for the next 15 years, would you have kids at 20? I probably would have. Like, like.
Or you just
when
wouldn't
money's not a problem.
Yeah,
well, that's true. Care. Yeah.
Since you brought up Ryan Williams, I do want to say one thing from the Alabama Georgia game. Kirk Herbstreit, after Ryan Williams had he's arguably a sort of a subpar year, he said the one thing about Ryan Williams is he's not that great of a ball catcher. And I was like, are you serious? He's like the third highest wide receiver prospect. Um, and he's like, he's just not a good ball catcher. I just thought that was
Yeah.
hilarious that he had said that just right there on, he's just not good. I was like, oh, at the primary thing that you have to do.
You know who's an unreal underclassman too, Paul, is Cam. I'm blanking on his last name from Auburn. It's like Cam. I so totally blanking, but he's like another like 18-year-old freak in the SEC that just catches everything thrown his way.
Yeah. Well, Herbstreit is a 100% biased towards Ohio State. Always will be, always has been, and he doesn't hide it well at all. So for him to be a commentator on any other game is just, I can't believe that they still let him do it, because he's 100% biased when it comes to Ohio State.
Oh, I'm pretty sure Ohio
it's
State
ridiculous.
had just lost too.
Yeah, so he was taking shots at Alabama. I mean, look, if you want to take a shot at Alabama, I'm all for it. I can't stand Alabama either. But at the same time, I mean, Ryan Williams he's a beast. He's an absolute beast. So I don't know. Herbstreit's just that guy. I like his dogs though. He does have cool dogs.
Not as cool as
That
Tom
aren't
Brady.
cloned, by the way. They're not cloned.
Joey, did you hear it? Did you say it? Did you
yes,
see?
yes.
I just said it.
Did you see the conspiracy theory that he is like the timeline lines up perfectly when he got his dogs cloned, that they made a joke that like he also had his DNA cloned, and it lines up perfectly with Drake May's like date of birth and height and weight and everything
ridiculous.
like that.
It's ridiculous. That's why I said good thing Ben's not on tonight, because he'd be like, oh yeah, we got the birth certificate and everything. Like, he would tell us everything. He would tell us everything, and it would be some conspiracy, tinfoil hat, everything, man. He'd be all about it. All about it.
Wait till you see the episode of the football this week. Conspiracy theories were definitely talked about for sure.
Oh, I'm sure. Anytime Randy opens his mouth, it just sounds like a conspiracy theory.
What up, everybody? The Beard is here. Hey, I want to give a quick shout out to one of our sponsors, the law offices of William P. Harrington. Credit card litigation, Chapter 7 bankruptcy, estate planning, estate administration, guardianships, they do it all. As a member, listener, follower, supporter of our network, they are offering you a 15% discount on these services. So if you are in the Pennsylvania or New Jersey area, schedule your free consultation today.
Hey everyone, thanks for listening. Just a few quick reminders for everybody. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Michael Jordan is the GOAT. And check out our fellow podcaster, Jim Montgomery, with This Day in Philly Sports History. Thank you.
No, we did have to translate some of it tonight.
I feel like Randy's like a distant, relative of Farmer Fran from The Waterboy. He was like, "Hey, Bobby Boucher, I had a moment bowl." Like,
I think so. Yeah, I think so.
That sounded pretty darn accurate right there. That was pretty good.
Close. That's pretty good. That was good. I'm impressed.
Yeah.
So what other topics? I'd like to open this up, before we get out, if there's any kind of burning topics that anybody's got on their minds. Anything? We saw a couple of baseball deals here.
Hey, Kyle, you're not going to talk about the Schwarbaum?
Hey, listen, I know the 5 years seems like a lot, but I mean, he was going to get 5 years elsewhere. So I'm happy that he's back. They'll probably get 3 great years out of him, or not great, but 3 solid years out of him until he starts declining, hopefully. So I'll take it. It kind of alleviates him going somewhere else within the National League, and we have to play him and see him in another uniform. So I like the fact he'll finish his career in the Philly uniform, and he's obviously the leader of that team. So it was something that they needed to do. They made sure it was a priority. I think they're going to re-sign JT next, because I think catcher's obviously a priority, and the way he handles that pitching staff, pretty damn good. So even though he's not, unless they can somehow, they've been rumored and linked to Adley Rutschman for Baltimore for the better part of like 3 months now. At the trade deadline, they
Already?
had talked about it. Oh yeah, oh
Why
yeah.
would the Orioles be looking to trade him already, or any of those
Because
guys?
it's the Orioles. It's the
Because their
Orioles.
organization
They're the Pirates.
stinks.
They're the Pirates of the American League. Like that's what they are. Anytime they get good talent, they're like, "Oh, let's ship it off. This will be great." Like because they don't want to pay anybody.
Let's play
They're
Chris
cheap.
Davis, $100 million.
Yeah. And we just finished paying him last year. It was, or they're still paying him until this year, I think it was something like that. It's insane, absolutely insane. But yeah, I like what the Phillies are doing right now. I mean, the only thing I don't like is when Dombrowski comes out and says, "Well, we won 96 games, so we shouldn't have to change much." Did you not see what happened at the end of the season? Like, yeah, you won 96 games, but you folded again. Like, you got to get players in there that can do something. So, in my opinion, I think they need to re-sign Bader. I think Bader, when he got signed to them and came in after the All-Star break, he pretty much gave them the fire that they needed. He was an emotional leader that they absolutely didn't have. So I think that would be a key of mine to re-sign him. They've been linked to like a couple other trades with like Ketel Marte and things like that. We'll see what happens, but I don't think they're going to sit on their hands this offseason like they did last year. I think they're going to be making some moves, so it should be fun. And it hopefully takes a little bit of the distraction away from the Eagles right now. So that's a good thing. I was hoping they were going to re-sign Schwarber and it was going to be announced at halftime last night so I could turn off that damn game and just be like, I can go to bed happy. We re-signed Schwarber. But no. Jalen Hurts decides to set records in a different way. A.J. Brown can't catch like C.D. Lamb. So it was good.
Look, you can't be good all the time, okay? You have to know what it feels like to lose every once in a while, Kyle.
Listen, I listen, and I try to tell people. People are like, "Oh, you're a spoiled fan base." No, you guys. I'm 44. Okay, so I've lived through the dark ages of not even being able to watch my team on TV because they were blacked out because they sucked so bad. The TV in the area was like, they're so bad, we're not even going to show them on TV. You got to listen to the radio today, chump. So
Kyle,
I remember that.
It's not Jalen Hurts' fault. He had to play against Sully on defense last night, who, just put in an absolute, clinic defensively.
He locked him down. He did locked
him down. Best defensive performance I've ever seen.
I think it was a little unfair, to be honest with you. I mean,
he's like 6'8"
before the game.
He's like 6'8"
exactly.
playing free safety.
Jalen Hurts had to go up against a cartoon. Like, come on, man. Tom Brady never had to go up against a cartoon. And look, I will say this. I am going to rant real quick. Because everybody wants to listen. Everybody wants to say about Jalen Hurts threw 4 interceptions. You know who else threw 4 interceptions in their career? Tom Brady did it 6 times. Peyton Manning did it 5 times. Drew Brees did it 3 times. Peyton Manning even threw 6 interceptions in one game and got benched. So I'm not comparing, and I just want to make sure that I'm clear on this. I'm not putting Jalen Hurts in that same category as those 3
I don't know,
quarterbacks.
Sounds like you are.
No, I'm not doing that. I'm not doing that. I'm not doing that because I'm getting to a point. I'm not doing the bend where I say Drake May is Tom Brady. I'm not doing that. And you don't have to do any memes and gifs about my face on this one. But
GIFs.
All I'm saying is gifs. Yeah, I know. I always say gifs, and then somebody said gifs the other day. Whatever. Don't distract me, Patty. Damn it. All I'm saying is the fact that it happens. People have bad games. Even the greatest quarterbacks ever have had bad games. It doesn't signify his career. That's all I'm trying to get across. So it does happen, and 2 of those were tipped. That last play in overtime, he shouldn't have made that throw, but that was a great defensive play. The other one that was tipped was A.J. Brown didn't want to get Zach Ertz to cross the middle because he was going to get hammered on that play. So he kind of Ricky Waters alligator armed for who, for what? Real Eagles fans will understand what that means. Ricky Waters for who, for what. I still hate that guy. I'm probably the only Eagles fan that hates Ricky Waters, but I'm just throwing that out there too. But there's my rant. The greatest quarterbacks of all time have actually thrown 4 picks in a game multiple times, and this is Jalen Hurts' first game ever that bad. So
I think all that is just a smokescreen for what the real issue is. This is what happens to the Eagles sometimes. You started 8-2, now you're 8-5, 3 losses in a row, and no matter what sport, it's whoever the quarterback is. There's a quarterback in every team sport. They're always going to go to the quarterback first. Last night, it was just able to be highlighted pretty easily. Last night, like, dude, you can't throw a pick, get the ball back, and then fumble it again. Like that's next level. Like, not looking good. So I
mean,
think that
he picked up the ball and immediately got hit. It's not like he tried to like scramble 15 extra yards. He
first
picked up
rule
the
of
ball.
football, first rule of football
He
is
was already
fall on the
standing
ball.
though.
Well,
He was already standing,
Then
and the ball bounced to
then
him.
lose those knees and just drop right straight down.
And have that 300-pound lineman fall on your back. Yeah, okay. All right.
You'd have the ball still. Yeah.
Episode title. Jalen Hurts.
Lose your knees.
Go Jalen Hurts. Go with Tom Brady? Question mark.
No, that's not what I said at all. So don't twist my words.
That's what we heard.
Listen, Jalen Hurts could have just been he pulled a Notre Dame last night and took his ball and went home. But no, he owned it in the post game conference and he said, "I didn't play well enough." He's right.
So
he didn't play well enough. But AJ Brown missed 3 balls and 3 blocks that could have changed the game. So AJ Brown wants to complain and say, "I'm not getting the ball enough." Well, he got his stats the last 3 games and they're 0-3.
Yeah, AJ Brown hadn't said a whole lot recently, and it doesn't matter about what happened to you.
I've said this all year. Stats are great. Wins are better. That's it. I'd rather have the wins than the stats.
Look at who we're not talking about this year is the Chiefs. I mean, look at how quickly you went. I mean, no offense, Kyle. I'm not saying you're in that same boat yet, but I mean, you ride high for so long, and then everybody can get knocked down a peg. And I mean, I barely even see. I don't have any Chiefs fans that come into the bar anymore. Like nobody cares anymore. How do you go from everybody jumping on that bandwagon and being Mahomes and Chiefs, and now it's just
well, they're putting their Patriots jerseys back on now.
Getting ready to they just took off their Dodgers jerseys in the World Series. So
don't say that word around here.
They'll be wearing they'll be wearing their Bama jerseys in about 10 days.
Yeah, Patty, can we touch on Edwin Diaz real quick? We have to touch on Edwin Diaz not being a Met.
All right.
Now you don't have to worry about the stupid trumpet song.
Yeah, I love the trumpet song, so whatever. But anyways, I just don't get why David Stearns thinks he's in Milwaukee still. This is not Milwaukee, and they're not the Yankees, so I'm not going to talk that way. But you have the richest owner in sports. You just paid Juan Soto $750 million. And the difference between you getting Edwin Diaz or putting him in the best bullpen in baseball was $1 million a year. Guess what? You do $1 million a year. You pay Steve Bonilla $1 million a year every year to go pay him, but you couldn't pay Edwin Diaz an extra $1 million a year, but you're going to pay Devin Williams $51 million for 3 years after you looked like Poopy McDookie Poops last year on the Yankees, and he can't come back. Like say the sponsors, Paul.
So I won't say the sponsors, but I will say this. One thing I learned from a Mets fan recently is we just signed your first base coach. And it was all because of $100,000, from what I understand. So the guy, that was helping out Francisco Lindor, Juan Soto, all that stuff, lost your first base coach, and he went right to Atlanta. And it was all because of no communication, and $100,000. So, yeah.
You can take the Wilpons out of New York, but inevitably you can't take the Wilpons out of the Mets.
I like it. I love it. I love every bit of it. And Patty, I enjoyed your rant. That was good. That was good. It's not even baseball season. That was even better.
I'm waiting for Juan Soto to have 3 Anthony Rendon years where he can't make 20 games. And then they're like, can we defer your payments until the second apocalypse?
You worry about getting Acuna healthy before you speak Juan Soto's name.
I've moved on from Ronald Acuna. I don't expect any all-star performance of him any longer. I'm going to go young again. We got to restart. I need a new Ronald Acuna that doesn't break.
Yeah, because they grow on trees. Yeah, they grow on trees. Ronald Acuna Jr.'s just grow on trees around everywhere.
70 steel superstars, 40-70 guys just grow out every day.
Yeah, go look in your couch cushion. I'm sure you'll find one.
Yeah, we're going to corner the international
You need to go young and get another Acuna. Do you hear yourself sometimes? You need to go young and just get another generational talent. That's
Paul's like, let me head down to the Dominican
concert. See if I can find a Mike Trout.
let me head down to the Ludacris concert at UNC and see if I can go find the next Ronald Acuna Jr. hanging out in the
It's
crowd.
like, come on. He has to be around here somewhere. Let me just ask somebody. Hey, can you play baseball as good as Ronald Acuna? Yeah? Bring him in. Yeah. What does it matter with you? No wonder you're a Commanders fan, too.
Oh, I
Jesus.
mean, if Ronald Acuna turns it around and proves that he's not going to waste money and all that and will stay healthy, then I don't understand. I've already said this. I don't understand how baseball players get so hurt. You don't have to do a whole lot of movement. Like if you're supposed to be a super athlete, don't get hurt running straight and stopping. Like, I mean, learn how to stop running. Like, what the hell? Like you should be able to
Learn how
slide
to
or
stop
don't
running. Oh, my
I
God.
mean, how many people hit on first base, end up like tearing something or trip over first base? Like you didn't see it coming. Like it jumped out in front of you. Like so
I
many
think a lot of
get
people
hurt.
watch.
Did you ever play baseball? Did you ever play
Yeah.
baseball? You
Yeah.
have. When?
Not
When you were
well, but I
6?
mean, I understand. Yes. Oh, have they
Yeah,
Kyle,
changed
I
it?
think-
I'm sorry. Did they change the rules?
I think a lot of people
How do you
watch this
take this one?
podcast and no, I was gonna say I think a lot of people watch this podcast and they say you got to learn how to start running. They don't worry about us stopping running. They worry about us starting running.
That's fair. That's fair. Yeah. Well, and I'm sure a lot of people watch this podcast and they think, man, Paul is the epitome of a natural athlete. So he knows what he's talking about when it comes to baseball running. So
I am an absolute Adonis, and I want to hear nothing otherwise. But speaking of Adonis, when in Rome, I do want to mention before we head off that we've got a special wives episode next Tuesday on the 16th. Next Wednesday. I didn't even get a correction from the producer on that. He was just going to roll with it and yell at me later. Next Wednesday at 8:00 is the wives episode. So we got at least a handful or 6 wives who have zero experience. I don't know
handful or
why.
6. Handful or 6.
Yeah. Yeah, well, I'm not going to go the next one up that our producer wants to do it because we're done with those 2 numbers. Hey, Whataburger, I heard that Whataburger even took off like there's some 6-7, like number 6-7 that you
did.
can order, and they took it off because they're just tired of all the BS around it. So our wonderful and loyal Christy is going to be the host there, and she's going to do a fantastic job. I'm really looking forward to it. I think it's going to be a great episode. It's going to be different for sure. I want to see what kind of tangents kind of break out on this.
I'm excited. I'm excited to talk sports with the wives. It'll be a great time.
It's probably going to be
It'll
our
be a
most
great
watched episode.
100%.
Probably is. Yeah.
We're going to
And
find
we'll
out
just
what kind of sports they actually know. Kind of like, well, I don't want to mention any other names because I don't want him to beat me up, but any other former guests here, but that may or may not know sports. But no, I'm really looking forward to it. I think it's going to be a wonderful, wonderful episode. So I think that's how we get off this episode. Got a lot of things to send us off on. None of them are pod rated. So I'm going to wish everybody a happy rest of the week and hope to see everybody back next week. Maybe this week, next Tuesday, we'll just pregame for the Wednesday one next week. The real episode.
Awesome.
See you, everybody.
We're going to take our ball and go home right now.
There it is.
Shut
I was
up.
going to say somebody needs to go out. There it is. That's the dumb shit. All right. I'll talk to everybody later.
Boom, boom, boom.